Hello on the planet and beyond. It's Shadi Between Here and There, a Thrive-based consulting firm surrounding global hygiene and applications of information technology. And today we're going to go over winter warming tips, okay? So in the dead of winter, your power goes out, you need to have some form of heat because the cold is no joke. I want to share this with you all. I'm gonna, add some other pieces that you can add to your repertoire of what to do if said thing happens. Okay, so the first step is going to be getting into in the smallest room of your home. In the smallest room because it needs to be closed. Okay, you don't want it to be the living room where a lot of airflow is going. Then you're trying to heat a very large space, and it's just not going to work out great for you. Okay, now also in this space, the fact that I even slipped to say eat, bring your items in there, because this is a room that you're going to this is going to be like your bed down location. You're not going to really be moving in and out. However, if you have to use the restroom or something like that, you will be moving in and out. And that's also going to assist with ventilation to ensure that the soot coming off this candle that you're going to be using isn't just congesting and condensing into that room. Okay, so the smallest room of your home, bring the things you need. You want to close that door, put any type of rug or cloth material that could basically seal off the cold air coming in. Okay, and I don't want it to be a complete seal with tape, because you still need a form of oxygen exchange for ventilation, as well as oxygen to feed the flame, because flames will die out when it's suffocated. So it still needs some form of oxygen to be circulating, and it's not just the waste, the waste from your respiration. So what you're going to need after that is a terracotta saucer and pot. Now make sure it's not enameled. Okay, you see it's no enamel, which the enameling, I take that back. The enameling could work as well. Okay, it's just with enameling, you need to understand what type of enamel you're dealing with, because some enamel is hardened with lead, and you don't want that residual lead to be in your breathing space or around you. Like you don't want that. Okay, so without enamel, this is also the cheapest one. I think this whole setup is maybe like $6, maybe, like let's say 2 and 3, so that's 5, and then let's say 8, $9. $9. We'll go with $9. You probably can find it a lot cheaper, especially if you have these things already in your home. A $9 setup for approximately a 10 foot by 10 foot space. Okay, you might add one more of this tea light and terracotta setup in that 10 foot by 10 foot space, but as a rule of thumb, when it comes to ventilation, when it comes to heating, this could warm your space, especially if you have other human beings in there with you, or your pets or whatnot. Okay, so you've entered the room, you have your things with you, you sealed off any type of openings with cloth so they're still in exchange. You found some form of stand that doesn't allow this setup to be directly on the ground, because there's still going to be some residual heat and you don't want to burn whatever is around it. Okay, so just like a little stand of some sort that's not going to burn or catch a fire. You're going to set this saucer down. Don't move it, okay? To show y'all my setup. Set it down. It was some soil in here, so don't worry about it. You set this down. You set a stand, some form of stand. You can literally take like a rock or anything that's not going to burn, and it's going to be a flat surface for your tea light candle to go. You set your tea light candle here. Everything's set, not moving. It's a flame. Light it. Then you put your terracotta pot here on top. Now what happens is this is heated, as well as heat is funneled through this hole. So there's oxygen being exchanged here. You can also try to kick it to the side a little bit to let more air flow into this system to ensure that that flame is vibrant to be able to heat this, okay? So you could also put something here, maybe another rock, to funnel that up, okay? And that's kind of what the stand prevents this saucer from getting too hot, as well as the circulation of oxygen, okay? So this is going to heat that like 10 foot by 10 foot space for you and provide you some heat, you know, bring up that temperature a bit for a short period of time, okay? In a short period of time, I'm saying about 6 to 9 hours, if that, okay? Tea light candles do not last long. So also note, if you have to switch this out, this is going to be hot now. So make sure you have like pot holders, anything that's going to protect you from this heat that's going to come off this when you're switching out your tea light candle that's gone out, okay? So this is going to be beneficial for people just trying to short term. They don't want to move. They're in a, you know, stationary position and they want to heat a space. It's also good to have one of these in your restroom, even though you're going to be in the smallest room of your home for the most of your time. Placing one into the restroom would be nice. If you know, if you need to do a wash up, I don't really recommend like a full on bath soaking because it's chilly and it, you know, you might still have some warm water left in your heating tank. However, you want to be able to step into like a warm environment, and so to be able to enjoy that, you know, you hygiene, you enjoy yourself, you're cleaning yourself, and to be able to step into a warm space. So having this set up in the restroom, excuse me, is great as well. Okay, so I hope this assists. There are some other things when it comes to warming, loosening layers. Okay, so with any type of winter situation, it's not good to just have a big coat, just like, okay, I have this one big coat. You need to be loose and in layers, okay? So the looseness also goes with the same principle of oxygen, being able to flow and circulate oxygen. And so therefore, loosening layers is going to protect you from those cold temperatures. That last layer that you put on can be of a polyester material. I've talked about polyester before. I usually stick to pretty much all natural materials: leathers, cottons, linens, silks, cashmere, wool, etc. However, when it comes to winter insulation and warmth, polyester is actually a good material as a final layer. Now you have to watch that as well, because it's a final layer and because it's polyester, which is a polymer, which is a plastic, it can also make you sweat. Now moisture is what carries heat. People get this idea, oh, I put on some pounds for the winter so I can stay warm in the winter. No, you provided yourself with insulation, sir, ma'am. That's what you've done, not actual heat. Heat comes from moisture, okay? So that's why if you go to very tropical areas, there is a lot of, you feel the heat there because the humidity is carrying that heat along those droplets of water, okay? In the desert, it's the same thing. It's evaporation of heat. It's like, it could also end up being that dry heat, but it's still a form of moisture exchange happening there, okay? So with the human body, it's not fat that is heating you, it's insulating you. Your blood is what is actually heating you. So when you get out and go for a run, your blood is pumping, therefore circulating heat, circulating moisture in your body, which is in a form of blood, okay? So loosening layers. Also, changing out your socks. Changing out your socks is going to be very important. I do, again, like to natural materials there as well. If you're not able to do 100% of a natural material, I say a good rule of thumb is about 60%, okay? Once you're at 60%, you're pretty much good, but make sure you're hitting that 60% of natural materials. You might have some form of like elastane for elasticity in your socks. However, changing those out quite frequently throughout the day is going to render a warmer body, because that moisture is being taken away, because that moisture is also cold. The same moisture that heats you can also make you cold. That's like taking a cold shower, a cold bath, okay, versus a warm shower and a warm bath. So when you change out those socks into dry socks, you're insulating that heat that you're generating through your system, through your circulatory system. So those socks are going to cover and coat your skin. So when that exchange is happening, you're not letting in more cold than warmth. Okay. So I hope that assists. Those are some tips for the winter. We can get into like snow blindness and frostbite and things like that. And I think that should probably also be added to the repertoire and the Rolodex, because we are in winter. It's real out here. In my city, the power has gone out quite frequently, which is interesting because there hasn't been much of like payback payback for that. And it's like, I feel like the expression would be, well, you didn't use that power. Well, you're rendering a service and you're a monopoly. So therefore, in the dead of winter, if you're not able to render this service, you need to compensate me, because I have no other choices. I've laid all my eggs in your basket, and that's it. But that's another conversation for another day, because that goes into politics, that goes into policy, and we can get there, but just not today on this episode. So thank you all so much for coming in. Make sure you all stay prayed up to the Most High God, the creator and curator for this thing, the birds, the bees, the oceans, the seas, the lakes, the moon, the stars, etc. That power that has brought us here today. We are in this thing together. Do not allow for anything when it comes to culture, when it comes to sex, when it comes to religion, to separate us, because we're going through a very similar human experience. And so therefore we need to be on board and on one accord when it comes to certain things, so we can progress a population forward. Okay, I love you all. I appreciate you all. Again, stay prayed up. And it's been Between Here and There. Check out the website betweenhtllc.com. Thank you.